So I tried to make this live stream a few minutes ago, and the pressure was too much. I had to press end, but I've got one of my massagers fixed to my back and it's working. And it's just allowing me to calm, but the battery won't last forever, so I thought it'd be a good idea to attempt the live stream again, but I wasn't able to do it the first time. For when the battery runs out. So what it was, as I woke up today, I put the news on to check out any developments with the war and with the world. In honesty, when I check the news, it's because my life is so surreal and insane. I'm just waiting for the world to turn around and say, very funny. And this will be the first live stream. I'll continue that in a second, but this will be the first live stream because I've realised I reference myself in the third person, giving context to circumstances, and obviously force of habit. I've still been referencing myself as Andreas, but as I said, I've changed my name. So this will be the first live stream. I'm going to reference myself as Gabriel in the third person. Bit of a head fuck, but it is what it is. So I put on the news and I'm waiting for the world to, any time, any day, to turn around and say, oh, it was so funny, Gabe. It was so funny. We got you. We got you really good. We made you really worried about all of these problems and all of the weird spiritual stuff that's been happening to you that isn't part of this reality. But it's been quite a while that I've been checking the news in the morning now, so if and when that happens, it remains to be seen. I've purchased some lamb's lung. I've never had lung. I'm aware of offal, so the more kidneys, liver, those sort of parts of the carcass of an animal are meant to be healthier if you can eat meat. So that's what I try and stick to as much as possible. It's also cheaper. And I've purchased lamb's lung for the first time in my life, and well, any lung. And I'm going to try and make it into something that's edible. It's really cheap, lamb's lung, compared to the normal, regular liver, kidney, and all of that part, all of those parts, the normal offal. This is a rarer offal. But anyway, as I put on the news, and this isn't going to be a long live stream, I don't have a lot of battery. They were exploring Kyiv, and apparently, I think they were saying it's been under heavy shelling, really, really heavy. And where they normally have been focusing on Mariupol and Odessa and the eastern cities up until now, suppose it's come more central to Kyiv, but in honesty, I've not really seen where all the cities are located. I've not. Sometimes I view it on my smartphone, have the news on my smartphone and the Bluetooth speaker on, and I just listen to the news rather than watch it. I caught a glimpse of what Kyiv looks like, and within what it looks like, Kyiv is right in the centre. And normally if it's a capital, well, this is my thinking, if it's a capital and it's right in the centre of a country, you'd reference it as the heart of the country, wouldn't you? And not only that, I looked at Kyiv, and what got me thinking about that is that it looks like a heart. It looks like a heart with a river running right down the middle. And seeing Kyiv already divided by that river, and being aware of my Cypriot roots, that Cyprus is the last Western capital that remains divided, and it's been like that for decades. And there's been no movement, stagnation, and that's my country. I'm Cypriot before I'm English. But then again, I appreciate that I live in Great Britain, the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom is my home. And then I've been thinking, because in a way, on a spiritual level, it's like the world has been slowly becoming more and more personal to me. Like, I've always had an ego, an innocent ego. And when you get psychosis, and when you have a foundation of spirituality for all of that psychosis to bloom within, and you believe, I'm being honest, if you believe, and I believed on some level, I'm here in this lifetime to do something on a world level, to change the world. So I've really been personal, well, no, I haven't been, but through the process of spirituality and psychosis, the world has become personal to me. Now, I don't know a Ukrainian person, and if I do, I don't know that they're Ukrainian. But last year, I met a Ukrainian lady. And I might have seen her 3-4 times, that was it. But she was a certified Ukrainian. I don't know any other certified Ukrainians. And one thing that she left me with that really struck me, because I've been alone within my mental health. Barely spoken to anybody for like 13 years beyond answering questions to doctors in hospital and therapists. That's been my life. And shop owners. Do you want mayonnaise with that, or do you want the yellow or blue pack of tobacco? Those sort of questions. That's my life. So everything has been very surface level interaction. She's one person that's featured. There's been a handful in a 13-year period that I've actually come close to having a conversation with. And she was one of these people. And something she said, one of the last things she said to me is, "I'll always love you, Andreas." That's when I was Andreas. And as I looked at the map of Ukraine today and have that sprung to mind, because if we just get rid of all the reality of the situation, which is that this isn't likely on any level to be the truth, but it's just a warming story, is that on some level it got me thinking. Cyprus has been alone dealing with its problems since the 70s. And it's a very small country and it doesn't have any friends. Well, it has friends, but none that are going to stand up for such a small country. And it's been left divided, it's been left alone, it's been left to recover, the south to recover and the north to recover on their own grounds. But it's divided all the same. There's a lot of tension. Well, I guess my dad was, he was part of the Lobby for Cyprus group, so he was very, I don't know if he was very active. I don't know what that involved really, but I know it was like once a week or something when I was a kid, he used to go and go to the Lobby of Cyprus and do whatever they do. And we used to have conversations, and the energy of the house was a case of, we've really been hard done by, Cypriots. In the case of this, the war that took place and the division that remains. And really, I didn't do politics, but I got my dad's energy that he loved Cyprus and he felt hard done by. I don't know if hard done by is the right term when it's a war and death has taken place on levels that such a small country everybody knows of. As I said, my mum was all but a refugee from that war. And ironically, I am the product of that war. Without that war existing, I wouldn't be here. My mum would be in Cyprus, my dad would have been over here, and their meeting would never have happened. So I'm aware of all of these aspects. And as I said, all I know of that war is the few discussions me and my dad had about Cyprus as a child, and feeling his energy and his love for his country. Because he was from Cyprus, he was born there, spent his childhood in Cyprus before coming over, I think it was as a teenager, to the UK. So that's how I just listen to the world, because the world just doesn't make sense in the first instance, second instance, third instance. You need to be alive and be tapped into some sort of source of information that's beyond Google and the mainstream rhetoric to know what's really taking place. So I just felt life and I just felt the world. That's my approach to things. And if this live stream cuts out at any time, I'll try and pick it up later in the day with a part 2. As I said, hopefully it shouldn't be too long. But that's the situation of Cyprus. And my mum's hometown, Morphou, is in the north, in the occupied territory. And Morphou is the heart of Cyprus. Morphou, where my mum comes from the island where Aphrodite was born, the goddess of love. Greeks are all about love. The ancient Greeks had 24 words for love. You want to go and compartmentalize love to a level of 24 times? Be my guest. I'd love to hear your findings, but ultimately that's what lies within Greeks and Cypriots. And within that, the heart is Morphou. At least for Cyprus. I don't know what the heart of Greece is. Possibly Thessaloniki. It's like the way you hear a Greek reference, Thessaloniki. It's like this dreamland. So I don't know if it's Thessaloniki, but it wouldn't surprise me. But for Cyprus, it's Morphou. And ultimately, I don't project onto people. I intentionally stop myself from projecting. In other words, when you have friends and family members, don't you? And it's easier to see other people as a father role, father figure and a mother figure and a sister figure and a brother figure to you. They're not really your mother or father, but they hold that sort of energy. And I don't do that at all, but I allow it to touch on that in terms of energy. So in terms of my spirituality, in terms of my psychosis, the story comes through me, to me, often in terms of how I stalk life from the perspective of energetic happenings. And within that, a story can be formed. And ultimately, this Ukrainian lady, I don't know why. I don't know why I've not dwelt on it. It's just like, I think I know why. But ultimately, she wanted to connect, or it happened. She connected to a mother energy through energy. So all of that started popping into my head about Morphou and my mum and the war and all of that. And as I said, she left me with the message of, I'll always love you, Andreas, which again is something my mum would have said to me. But I wonder how strong love is, how sincere a total stranger really, statement of love truly is. And in essence, what if the Ukraine was left divided, east and west again, another Germany from World War II situation? It'd almost make perfect sense that Kyiv would be divided along that river. Now, we haven't had a lot of people standing up for us, Cyprus. We've had, obviously, Greece. The UK has tried to play an impartial mediatory party because they have bases in Cyprus. But obviously from my dad's perspective, they've sort of messed up and been the contributing factor to the continued suffering there, if not in the first place. But Russia are friends to Cyprus, ironically. They have a lot of Russians go to Cyprus and spend time in Cyprus and have homes there, and there's a real Russian presence there. Not that I've really felt it, it's just what I know of Cyprus. I've only ever been there for holidays, and that was confined to the home of my grandmother, and I wouldn't really venture out too much to really observe that. But I'm aware of that. And it just got me thinking, it's like, it's hard to say, but it's just a story that's true, that popped into my head, that I'm expressing, and it's like, maybe the love of that woman that said, "I'll always love you, Andreas," was so true, and she was so pure to love. And for whatever reason, Cyprus means so much to me that I'm not even aware of it. I don't ever expect to go back. She ripped her own country apart to replicate a situation that represents what's happened to Cyprus. So much so that the capital, Kyiv, will be left divided. And on the mainstream media, when they talk about this and they reference Kyiv in the future, in a year's time, once the war's over, or however long it is, they can't say the last remaining divided western capital city without mentioning Nicosia and Cyprus. And maybe that's all it is. When she saw me, I was suffering. I'm suffering on many levels. The live streams don't hide that. And maybe she saw my suffering, and because she was Hathor as well, so that further adds to it. Hathor is all about love and beauty. And maybe she's so sincere to life that, and Cyprus is so important to my future that I'm not even aware of. And unfortunately I did touch her, not meaning to, with my suffering. That by the very power of love, she ripped her own country into two, in solidarity for my country. And maybe, in a strange way, in the future, when they start referencing Kyiv as being divided, just a small amount of awareness and energy will go to the division that's still there in Cyprus. And maybe the Ukraine and Cyprus can both be healed together. But that's the story, and the battery held out for that. So I leave you with that idea. How pure are you to life? How much can you embody love? How much can you hold to love? That within your heart, within your soul, within your mind, within that connection, you have the power to rip yourself into two. The place of your homeland also. Because of love. And obviously, I don't believe I'll ever see her again, but it must have been unconditional if it's true. So how much can you hold to the power of love, true love, unconditional love? To see magic in this world.